Good evening and welcome to our daily devotional reading. I do believe this is the hardest of Plato's dialogues. I might be mistaken. I guess I should say promises, promises, or I'll believe it when I see it. Something like that. But let's not postpone any further. Let's get on with it. Take a deep breath. Try to focus on Plato. Open your heart and your mind. Open your mind's ear. And let's listen to Plato. Then being is distributed over the whole multitude of things, and nothing that is, however small or however great, is devoid of it. And indeed the very supposition of this is absurd, for how can that which is be devoid of being? In no way. And it is divided into the greatest and into the smallest and into being of all sizes, and is broken up more than all things. The divisions of it have no limit. True. Then it has the greatest number of parts. Yes, the greatest number. Is there any of these which is part of being and yet not part? Impossible. But if it is at all, and so long as it is, it must be one, and cannot be none. Certainly. Then the one attaches to every single part of being and does not fail in any part, whatever great or small, or whatever may be the size of it. True. But reflect. Can one, in its entirety, be in many places at the same time? No, I see the impossibility of that. And if not in its entirety, then it is divided, for it cannot be present with all the parts of being unless divided. True. And that which has parts will be as many as the parts are. Certainly. Then we were wrong in saying just now that being was distributed into the greatest number of parts. For it is not distributed into parts more than the one, into parts equal to the one. The one is never wanting to being, or being to the one. But being two, they are co-equal and co-extensive. Certainly that is true. The one itself, then, having been broken up into parts by being, is many and infinite. True. Then not only the one which has being is many, but the one itself distributed by being must also be many. Certainly. Further, inasmuch as the parts are parts of the whole, the one as the whole will be limited, for are not the parts contained by the whole? Certainly. And that which contains is a limit? Of course. Then the one, if it has being, is one and many, whole and parts, having limits and yet unlimited in number. Clearly. And because having limits, it also having extremes. Certainly. And if a whole having beginning and middle and end, for can anything be a whole without these three? WHOLE. And if any one of them is wanting to anything, will that any longer be a whole? No. Then the one as appears will have beginning, middle, and end. It will. But again, the middle will be equidistant from the extremes, or it would not be in the middle. Yes. Then the one will partake of figure, either rectilinear or round, or a union of the two. True. And if this is the case, it will be both in itself and in another too. How? Every part is in the whole, and none is outside the whole. True. And all the parts are contained by the whole. Yes. And the one is all its parts, and neither more nor less than all. No. And the one is the whole? Of course. But if all the parts are in the whole, and the one is all of them and the whole, and they are all contained by the whole, the one will be contained by the one. And thus the one will be in itself. That is true. But then again, the whole is not in the parts, neither in all the parts. Nor in some one of them. For if it is in all, it must be in one. For if there were any one in which it was not, it could not be in all the parts. For the part in which it is wanting is one of all. And if the whole is not in this, how can it be in them all? It cannot. Nor can the whole be in some of the parts, for if the whole were in some of the parts, the greater would be in the less, which is impossible. Yes, impossible. But if the whole is neither in one, nor in more than one, nor in all the parts, it must be in something else and cease to be anywhere at all. Certainly. If it were nowhere, it would be nothing. But being a whole and not being in itself, it must be in another. Very true. The one, then, regarded as a whole, is in another. But regarded as being all its parts, it is in itself. And therefore the one must be itself in itself and also in another. Certainly. The one, then, being of this nature, is of necessity both at rest and in motion. How? The one is at rest since it is in itself. For being in one and not passing out of this, it is in the same, which is itself. True. And that which is ever in the same must be ever at rest. Certainly. Well, and must not that, on the contrary, which is ever in other, never be in the same, and if never in the same, never at rest? And if not at rest, in motion? True. Then the one being always itself, in itself, and another, must always be both at rest and in motion. Clearly. And must be the same with itself and other than itself, and also the same with the others and other than the others. This follows from the previous affections. How so? Everything in relation to every other thing is either the same or other, or if neither the same nor other, then in the relation of the part to the whole, or of the whole to the part, clearly. And is the one a part of itself? Certainly not. Since it is not a part in relation to itself, it cannot be related to itself as a whole to part. It cannot. But is the one other than one? No. And therefore not other than itself? Certainly not. If then it is neither other nor a whole nor a part in relation to itself, must it not be the same with itself? Certainly. But then again, a thing which is in another place from itself, if this itself remains in the same place with itself, must be other than itself, for it will be in another place. True. Then the one has been shown to be at once in itself and in another. Yes, thus then, as appears, the one will be other than itself. True. Well then, if anything be other than anything, it will not be other than that which is other. Certainly. And will not all things that are not one be other than the one, and the one other than the not one? Of course. Then the one will be other than the others. True. But consider, are not the absolute same and the absolute other opposites to one another? Of course. Then will the same ever be in the other, or the other in the same? They will not. If then the other is never in the same, there is nothing in which the other is during any space of time. For during that space of time, however small, the other would be in the same. Is not that true? Yes, if you say so. And since the other is never in the same, it can never be in anything that is. True. Then the other will never be either in the not one or in the one. Certainly not. Then not by reason of otherness is the one other than the not one, or the not one other than the one. No. Nor by reason of themselves will they be other than one another, if not partaking of the other. How can they be? But if they are not other, either by reason of themselves or of the other, will they not altogether escape being other than one another? They will. Again, the not one cannot partake of the one. Otherwise it would not have been not one, but would have been in some way one. True. Nor can the not one be number. For having number, it would not have been not one at all. It would not. Again, is the not one part of the one? Or rather, would it not be in that case partake of the one? Or would it not in that case partake of the one? It would. If then, in any point of view, the one and the not one are distinct, then neither is the one part or whole of the not one, nor is the not one part or whole of the one. No. But we said that things which are neither parts nor wholes of one another, nor other than one another, will be the same with one another. We said so? So we said? Yes. Then shall we say that the one being in this relation to the not one is the same with it, let us say so, then it is the same with itself and the others, and also other than itself and the others. That appears to be the inference. And it will also be like and unlike itself and the others. Perhaps. Since the one was shown to be other than the others will also be other than the one. Yes. And the one is other than the others in the same degree that the others are other than it, and neither more nor less. True. And if neither more nor less, then in a like degree. Yes. In virtue of the affection by which the one is other than others, and others in a like manner other than it, the one will be affected like the others, and the others like the one. How do you mean? I may take as an illustration the case of names. You give a name to a thing? Yes. And you may say the name once or oftener? I didn't know that was a word. Yes. And when you say it once, you mention that of which it is a name, and when more than once, it is something else which you mention. Or must it always be the same thing of which you speak, whether you utter the name once or more than once? Of course it is the same. And is not other a name given to a thing? Certainly. Whenever then you use the word other, whether once or oftener, you name that of which it is the name, and to no other do you give the name. True. Then when you say that the others are other than the one, and the one other than the others, in repeating the word other, we speak of that nature to which the name is applied, and of no other. Quite true. Then the one which is other than others, and the other which is other than the one, in that the word other is applied to both, will be in the same condition, and that which is in the same condition is like. Yes. Then in virtue of the affection by which the one is other than the others, everything will be like everything, for everything is other than everything. True. Again, the like is opposed to the unlike. Yes. And the other to the same. True again. And the one was also shown to be the same with the others. Yes. And to the same with the others, and to be the same with the others is the opposite of being other than the others. Certainly. And in that it was other, it was shown to be like. Yes. But in that it was the same, it will be unlike by virtue of the opposite affection to that which made it like. And this was the affection of otherness. Yes. The same then will be unlike. Otherwise it will be the opposite of the other. True. Then the one will be both like and unlike the others. Like insofar as it is other, and unlike insofar as it is the same. Yes, the argument may be used. And there is another argument. What? Insofar as it is affected in the same way, it is not affected otherwise. And not being affected otherwise is not unlike, and not being unlike is like. But insofar as it is affected by other, it is otherwise, and being otherwise affected is unlike. True. Then because the one is the same with the others, and the others than the other, on either of these two grounds, or on both of them, it will be both like and unlike the others. Certainly. And in the same way as being other than itself and the same with itself, on either of these two grounds and on both of them, it will be like and unlike itself. Of course. Thus far our scripture of the evening. So I wrote down Matrix because all this talk of the one made me think of the Matrix. Probably there's other reasons also why the Matrix is on my mind. It feels like some sort of mindfuck, some sort of thing that we're going to need a red pill. Is the red pill the one that opens the door? The doors of perception, I'm not sure. To understand it, maybe it's just me. I just feel there could be easier ways to say this. But Parmenides was a type of mystic. And maybe the idea is to make us a bit dizzy. Dizzy. I'm so dizzy, my head is spinning. The one is the whole, I wrote down. I'm not sure why I wrote that down. What was I thinking about? Okay, I don't know what I was thinking about when I was writing it down, but now one of the Gnostic texts, and now the book isn't with me anymore, comes back to mind. Something about, well, Thomas, I mean, the Gospel of Thomas. There's something about how, I'm just going to say, because I read it in a different language anyway, so I'm just going to say how I interpreted it. Maybe I interpreted it wrong. You cannot partake of the whole unless you yourself become a whole. Because the one is the whole, and the whole is the one. Each part containing the whole. So what is that thing that they have, like each part contains the whole? It's, I forget the name. It's quite popular nowadays, or it was a while back. That in every part the whole is. That's what keeps coming to mind also yesterday. I should have Googled what it's called, I forgot. The one in itself and in another. And then also I wrote down snowflake, because at the same time that everything is one and like, everything is other and unlike, everything is other than everything else. You are unique like everyone. And yet you are simply, or miraculously, I should rather say, connected to everything and everyone. Thus far, Plato. Just need to see that my alarm is not going to go off. I'm supposed to have 2 minutes of silence in 4 minutes. I'm not going to make it, because may the spirit of Sophia be with you. And if you want to go grab yourself a cup of tea, please feel free. It's way too warm. I should. I burned my tongue. I wonder if that has any symbolic meaning. So, I was watching. Oh, my mouth is on fire. I was watching a vision of a conversation Alex will post shortly. And Johnny Thompson asked Alex a very personal question, which I thought was a bit too intruding, really. But Alex, as usual, wiggled out of the personal question. I am going to respond to it, though. For myself, not for him. I don't know what his answer would be. What is your reason for getting up in the morning? Johnny used the formal phrase, but I'm not that pretentious. At least that's what I tell myself. In truth, it's just because I can't. My response would be, it's presumptuous of you to assume that I do get up in the morning for any other reason than if I have an appointment or someplace that I need to be. Maybe I don't. In fact, I don't. And yet I do. My reason for getting up in the morning, and this is not a joke, this is true, is coffee. I get up to make myself coffee. I do have a whole flow in the morning. I open the curtains, these curtains, because they look out on trees and water, so it's beautiful. And then the sun comes in. And then I drink water. I have a copper flask on the table next to the window to drink water from in the morning. And then I go make myself some coffee. I go to the loo first, of course. And then I go make myself some coffee and I get back into bed. And that is the reason why I get up. That's sometimes even why I'm eager at night to go to bed, so that I can wake up the next morning. It's for that cup of coffee, which I usually have either reading or writing. Reading is the thing that comes most natural to me. Writing is something that I am now doing because of the artist way. If I am free on the day, I should probably then read philosophy, because if I read philosophy, I read like 10 pages max and then I get up. If I read any other book, I will probably just stay in bed until 2 reading. With Nietzsche, it was great, and I hope it sticks, because he keeps talking about you should be strong, and then I'm reading him in the morning, and then when I do get up after reading my 10 pages and drinking my coffee, I got into the habit, and I hope it sticks, of doing some kettlebell exercises. So, because one has to be strong according to Nietzsche. So I hope it sticks. We'll see. And then I'm usually too sweaty to get back into bed immediately. So I have breakfast and maybe a shower, and or maybe not, depends on how sweaty I am. And then I'll get back into bed and read some more. On a good day, that is basically all I do. I just stay in bed and read. At a certain point, I do get up to go for a walk if I'm mothering myself well. There's an hour's walk if I go out, across the park next to the Amstel. I turn right and I walk to my favorite park and through my favorite park and back again. It's about an hour's walk, so that's a nice walk. And that's basically why I get up in the morning, for my books and for the walk and for the coffee, mostly the coffee. I think why I'm telling you this is because I think we always think that we should have grand reasons for getting up in the morning. And I have tried in the past to incorporate like this whole morning ritual that's really good for me, not the cold shower or bath thing is absolutely ridiculous. I see no reason why I should torture myself. But meditation and things like that, yoga and things like that, it just doesn't stick. If I don't love something, I don't do it for a very long time. I just can't. Maybe because I'm a nihilist, or maybe that is proof that I am a nihilist. I just do what I love. And usually I flow from one thing to the other if it is going well. My evenings used to be more wasted, and that is why I started doing this in the evenings and not because my mornings are quite sacred to me. The one thing that gets to me when I have visitors, because the couch that visitors sleep on is in front of the window that I open, so I can't open the window, the curtains, until they wake up. And that flow is then disturbed, and then I'm not quite as happy as I otherwise am. Those are the days that I don't work. Usually Sunday mornings I go to a Socratic cafe. I didn't feel like it yesterday, so I didn't. I just stayed in bed the whole day yesterday until 5, and then I went to mail a letter to Rebecca. Yeah. The days I work, I do the same thing in the morning, read my philosophy, and then I get up, and if I remember, I put on a lecture from the Peterson Academy as I get ready, and if I have time, I clean a bit. I'm not very high in conscientiousness, so my place is usually a bit of a mess. I go to work. Why? Why do I go to work? to get money. Why do I want money? Because I have bills to pay. And why do I pay the bills? Because that's the way society is. And I'm here, and I have to partake in the societal rules. There's no reason deeper or behind that. It's just, that's the society we live in. We need to pay our bills. So, what is my reason for getting up in the morning? Coffee. And really, coffee. It's the small pleasures in life. Maybe I'm some sort of a nihilistic Epicurean. I don't know. I hope you sleep well tonight. And I'll see you tomorrow.